teacher that just gave you the creeps? Like, the way they talk, the way they stare, something about them just doesn't feel right? Well, that was my science teacher, Mr. Grayson. At first, I thought I was just imagining things, but the more I paid attention, the weirder it got. And let me tell you, what I found out about him was way worse than I ever could have expected. It all started when I noticed how Mr. Grayson would always act different around me. I mean, at first, I figured I was overthinking it, but my best friend Mia noticed it too. One day in science class, we were working on an experiment together when she leaned over and whispered, "Lily, why does Mr. Grayson always stare at you? It's weird." I shrugged, trying to brush it off. I don't know, but it's creeping me out. And have you noticed how he always locks that storage room after class? Right on cue, Mr. Grayson walked past our table, and instead of just passing by, he stopped. He tapped my shoulder and gave me this weird smile. "Great job on the assignment, Lily," he said. "I'd love to discuss your work after school sometime." Alone, my stomach dropped. The way he said it, I don't know, it just felt wrong. As he walked away, Mia and I exchanged nervous glances. That was the moment I knew something wasn't right. After school, Mia and I decided to sneak into the science lab. Mr. Grayson was in a staff meeting, so it was the perfect time. I wasn't even sure what we were looking for. I just knew we had to find something. We crept inside, and I went straight to the storage room. Locked. Of course, Mia started rummaging through his desk. There's gotta be a key somewhere. That's when I noticed an old-looking notebook shoved in the back of a drawer. I opened it, and my heart nearly stopped. Inside, there were pages and pages of notes about students, but not like grades or attendance. This was different. He was writing about us. I flipped through until I saw my name. Lily Smart, curious, a bit too nosy, needs to be watched. My hands started shaking. He was keeping notes on me. Before I could even process what I was reading, we heard footsteps. "Someone's coming," Mia said. We barely had time to duck under the desk before the door opened, and Mr. Grayson stepped inside. He stood there for a second, looking around like he could sense something was off. "Someone's been in here," he muttered under his breath. I covered my mouth to keep from making a sound. I could hear my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. After what felt like forever, he finally left. The second the door shut, Mia and I bolted out of there, clutching the notebook like our lives depended on it. Back at my house, we sat on my bed and flipped through the notebook. It was worse than I thought. There were names of students who had suddenly transferred, but when we tried to search them up online, there was nothing. No social media, no school records, like they had just disappeared. Mia's face was pale. "Lily, what if he's doing something to them?" I didn't want to believe it, but deep down, I knew something was seriously wrong. That's when my phone buzzed. I looked down. Unknown number. The message sent chills down my spine. "Stay out of this. This is your only warning." My stomach twisted. He knew we had been in his room. I turned to Mia, my hands shaking. "We have to tell someone. Now." But before we could even think about what to do next, there was a knock at my window. I froze. Slowly, I turned my head, and there, standing outside in the dark, was Mr. Grayson, and he was smiling.